Yeah, I think more than anything, we've had multiple meetings this past year through CSCAA on how we continue to move our sport forward. I think that's I've been going to some of these meetings in CSCAAs for almost 30 years, and we've talked about a lot of things, but we haven't made a whole lot of changes. And I think the time is now. The landscape is clearly changing, and I think that the metrics for me, in my mind, has been how do we add value to our sport. We know we have an amazing product. We know everybody watches Olympics. How do we transfer some of that into NCAA swimming? Arguably, one of the most exciting meets in the world. And yet we get buried into March Madness. To me, that's priority one. How do we move away from the basketball craze and we all get into it? I think that has to be priority one. Where does it go? So I think those discussions are important. And some of the meetings we've had recently at the NCAA headquarters, I think the directive was pretty simple. We needed a unified front as a group of coaches. And I feel strongly, I can say this, that certainly after the meeting on Monday, I feel that we have that. Maybe for the first time ever, where coaches were open to whatever it's going to take, right, to continue to move us forward as a sport. That's what we're willing to do. And I think that's a first in all the years I've been involved. 29 years of college coaching for me, it's the first where you walk away from a meeting like that where it's like, okay, we have a unified front, we have places to go. There's a million different things that need to happen now, but there are boxes that need to be checked, and TV exposure is one of them. Accessibility, again, how do we pack the stands, right? So there's questions, and format is part of that. How do we make this more exciting, more watchable on TV? Storytelling, we know, is a big part of the Olympic swimming coverage. How do we create some of those things? So I think we're on the right path, and I give a lot of credit to Sam Barony, our executive director for the CSCAA. She's doing some real work behind the scenes. There's political work being done, there's detail work being done, but we're doing it. It was probably pretty much every single coach that's at this meet, and I know a number of coaches flew in just to be part of the meeting. I think we did a really good job of just explaining, hey, this is an important opportunity, and people showed up. So we didn't do a head count, but I know we know who showed up, and it was probably close to 100 coaches, maybe even more. We had to add chairs to the room, so that's a good problem to have, and I think people understood the urgency of the moment. I think more than anything, I think the priority one, our directive again from the NCAA standpoint, is we need a unified front as a group of coaches so we can then move forward. And I think, again, we walked away from that conversation more than ever. Coaches are united to, it's whatever it takes moment, right? To add, the word that always comes to me is value. How do we continue to add value to our sport? And in the metrics of this new day of house settlement and all these things, and each athletic department has multiple challenges now. Where does swimming fit in that priority list for each athletic department? And again, so then it goes back to how do we add value to our sport, perceived value or otherwise, but nonetheless, how do we continue to move ourselves in a different light here? Sam already kind of notified the NCAA with a summary of the meeting, the unified front from the coaches, the openness to real change. And I think that's the next piece here is another meeting with the NCAA with the details on, what are the options, what can we do? Again, filter of adding value, TV exposure again being part of it, getting away from March Madness to me has to be priority one. So we verbalized that, they understand that. Nothing move as quick as we would like to move, but I feel like we're on the verge of making some real change, and we know, right? And this is important for SwimSwam, for media coverage like this. We're in a real pickle as a sport right now. Like we cannot put our heads in the sand overall, right? And I think every coach here on deck at NCAAs understands that, feels that, is feeling that to a certain extent. So the time is now for us to really mobilize and change our sport.